Yo, yo, yo. What's up? What up, man? What's up, Matt? DR No. Massive Zen, what is up? One Timer, Don, Aldo, Beach Guy, John. Nana, what is up? Kaiser. Ileana, what is up? John, Zombie. Guys. AMC, man. Here to talk about it. Nicolas is up. All right, let's talk about it, man. What is going on here with AMC? We're down about 5% for the day. We are going back up, though. So let's go ahead and pull up here what we've been talking about here. All right, so first thing is first. Let's see what we're gonna do. AMC. So on the website, guys, if you do want to track the POIs, you can. Okay, it's AMC. It's on the AMC chart. Here is the weekly POI. So you can see that there's two. Obviously the bearish scenario and the bullish one. Right now it is tracking the bullish one, and I did want to pull up one pattern here that I believe we are tracking pretty closely here with the theory that I talked about, right? So I talked about this pattern theory on AMC and how there's an algorithm code that is out there that these guys don't want us to know, I believe. Because everything that... all these patterns, dude, they make up the AMC's chart, AMC sequence, okay? It's a sequence, right, of frequencies. And I don't think this is a chance, man. I think this is... I think this has to do with the cycle. And... you know, I did mention in the video that this doesn't mean that we're going to replicate what is going on here, but there's a good chance that there is something going on here because this does go with the POI, with the point of interest that we're tracking in October. So, pretty interesting stuff, and you can see we're following this pattern, okay? Ever since I posted this on Sunday, and we're following this pattern. Now, you can also find this pattern... okay, back here, we're going to go on the 1 hour. Okay, and this right here is currently where we're at, I believe. So if this is true and we have a positive POI, we should start going up tomorrow. I mean, look at how, like, accurate this is. Like, it goes with this pattern theory that I talked about. It lines up, and we're on this next portion, this purple portion that is playing out here. So if this is true, we would be going up here tomorrow, and things would set up to do something like this. Now, I'm going to say this again. This does not mean that we are going to have the same return here on AMC's chart that we have here, right? All this is saying is there's no more room that we can fit in this cycle here. Like, the cycle is over because none of these patterns, there's not room for an extra set of a pattern, which is, in this case, these patterns are, and if you guys haven't watched this video, go watch it. I posted it on Sunday. they'll explain everything here. Okay, so these are 13 days long. About some of them are shorter, some of them are longer, but they're all going to be 72 bars. Okay, so you can see here 72 bars, 72. Some way back here are 71, but there's a very few, and it's because some of the charts, as they shift, there is like an hour or two that are not shown up on the on TradingView here, so that's normal. Anyways, go watch this video because it's fucking crazy. And dude, yeah, this would be like a mini projector pattern here. So again, I'd be ignoring the levels of the June run up, because all that's saying is that there's volatility. Okay, so just how I track the POIs, the points of interest, it's the same thing. This is just a volatility zone. Okay, and right now things are tracking. They're tracking according to this layout here. We haven't crossed below. Okay, we're right at that point here, just like we did in May, where we crossed below before coming back up. Okay, now the setup is different, obviously. Like we have here we had a pennant, and back here we have what I believe is going to be this broadening wedge that should take us up, right? And then also tomorrow, FOMC meeting, right? That is going to be volatility in the market, regardless of anything. So this, I was telling the Discord earlier that with these events, volatility events, typically you can kind of forecast what's going to happen using AMC Cycle. So I've been doing that here a lot, and based on the setup, dude, shit looks good. So I'm excited for the coming days. I think we're going to experience some pretty nasty moves either direction, man. I mean, it is what it is. POIs, that's just how they work. But I am more bullish than I am bearish. And dude, cycles, man. Cycle theory, cycles are fucking insane. Turn up the music. Trevor wants the music up. Are you guys trying to rally or what? People want to rally. Okay, so you guys want to rally? Is that what you want? It's my little space galaxy here. Where it at though? Now we're gonna rally, dude, when we go, when we squeeze, man. Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. We gotta jam it up. Jam it up in here. AMC. Megaphone time, of course. Oh, for real? Traded? Trey and Rico? Yeah, I was catching up with Rico the other day. I haven't caught up with Trey, though. I need to catch up with that guy. Trey. My dude Trey. Lovely Trey. Trey, the George W. Trey. Love the fam, yeah, dude. So nice projector going on. Okay, also, last week we closed above the quad witching price levels. Guys, this is the first time that we have done this in over a year, okay? And we closed actually right above the previous quad witching levels from the start here in March. So March 2021, The level that we had closed at was going to be around the 8, almost $9 level. Now this is the scale chart, guys, so the price was obviously different here, but yeah, we closed right at that level, very close to this layout here. Okay, and this is the first time, dude, the first time we have done it. So things are curling back up. This is the first step. Obviously we need more confirmation here for things to start going back up, and that's why I believe that as soon as we get this inflow and volume here going up, we should get there, right? Okay, but this is another thing to track, another thing that's bullish. I was gonna talk. I'm gonna talk about this because a lot of people were asking. Ethereum Classic, dude. Ethereum Classic. Okay, so people were asking if there is still correlation with Ethereum Classic, and the answer is yes. But people need to realize that, whoa, we just got a nice candle here on AMC. Hold up. We got a mat. Okay, yeah, it's a pretty big candle. Okay, so let's see. Let's pull this up again. Talk about Ethereum Classic here. So with Ethereum Classic, there is the liquidity transfer that we've experienced, major liquidity transfer that we've experienced twice. Okay, so one here, and this was one of the indicators we used to point out this the POI here in March. Okay, so this was the first POI, and then the second POI, same thing. Both of these, we know that Ethereum Classic went first, and then AMC followed, right? But in between this liquidity transfer, what happens in between the charts is not something that we should pay too much attention to if there's very little volume coming in. So there's only been 2 instances here where I've tracked it, and the first one was here in July, and then the second one was this gap that you're looking at here. The reason why there's a gap, guys, is because crypto trades 24/7, so there's naturally going to be gaps on the charts. So this one also worked. This liquidity transfer, you saw AMC go up about 5 days later. So I brought this up as well on the Discord, and I was telling the guys that this is a tool I use. It's called Advanced Comparison Tool. Pretty cool stuff. I'll take this away. And it shows you the percentage in return of a stock over a period of time. So you select a time frame, a window, and then it'll spit out which one has the highest percentage return over that time frame. So here we can see, we're going to pull up GME, and we're also going to pull up Ethereum Classic. Okay, so one thing I brought up was that Ethereum Classic and AMC were on a very similar return. Here you can see they're both very closely related together, but you know, GameStop's obviously has had its run, and you can see here GME. I mean, dude, on this time frame, let's go ahead and go on the daily chart here. You can see it a little bit better. Yeah, so GME is about, it's still up 2,000% here, okay, from the COVID correction, which is when everything basically started tracking, and then they were leveraged, over leveraged. They used the COVID correction as a way to short the entire market, and then here's where you started to get all this correlation going on, right? So both of these two are extremely correlated with each other, except one goes up first and then the other one follows. But the track here is that people should not be tracking what's going on the intraday level. So like on the micro scale, it should be on the macro. So these larger moves are important, not what is going on in between, because there's very little going on. And then also, you have to think that Ethereum Classic also follows what is going on in the crypto market too. So those two should be treated as in the moment that they do go up, so in the moment that AMC or Ethereum Classic starts rallying, like a major rally, is when we should be paying attention to AMC. Back here, same thing. You saw them both go up. Ethereum Classic here was tracking about a month behind, and then you saw AMC go up. But in between, you started to see some points here. Okay. Here's Ethereum Classic. Very dry, like the patterns are a bit different, but they happen at the same time, right? So they're tracking, again, here Ethereum Classic tracking a month behind, and then AMC would go up, create its own pattern on the way up. Here, very little going on here with Ethereum Classic, but AMC had multiple levels, multiple sections here where it did start to rise. Man, volume is increasing right now on AMC. Good stuff. And then same thing back here. Like you saw a little bit more going on with Ethereum Classic, and then AMC sort of did its own thing still at the same time before they both reached their all-time highs. Okay? So that's exactly how I'm treating AMC here. I'm not, I'm not going to pay too much attention to what Ethereum Classic is doing right here on the smaller scale, because I don't think this is going to affect it in that way. And yeah, man, just wanted to go over that. Ethereum Classic. All right, let's see. Let's look at AMC, or let's go ahead and look at Ethereum Classic. No, not Ethereum Classic. Dude, let's go on the intraday chart, man. 1 minute. All right, here is AMC. Let's also pull up. It like never saves here for whatever reason. Okay, so I got a couple of tools that I use, some indicators. These are going to be out, by the way. If you guys want more information, make sure you click the link below. But these are, there's 3 indicators that I've been working on. One of them is called spots. So it uses a cycle to create these smooth it out curves, and it's basically foreshadows and acts similarly to a moving average, but using the cycle. So it's a little bit different. And there's a very specific time frame that I use on AMC. So every chart has its own cycle. You know, I love to use the 3-hour chart on AMC. I think it's like one of the most accurate ones when calculating anything using indicators. But basically the way this works is it highlights these sections here. You know, as the chart is going up, you get blue. Chart's going down, you get red, so selling pressure. But the crosses here are very important, because whenever you get a cross through the inverse colors, so here, we got a blue cross, and I have a little circle, right? Whenever you get that cross through, you typically get a nice move, and then on the way down, the same thing. Okay, same thing. You get the cross on the inverse color, and then you start coming back down. Now, yeah, this is a pretty awesome indicator. There's also another one I'm working on. It's called the copycat, man, and this uses a cycle as well. It takes previous patterns in the sequence using the fast Fourier transform, and it formulates a pattern. So it projects a pattern, formulates it based on the Fourier transform, which is very, very important when it comes to cycle analysis. And it'll spit out, what the projection is. However, this one you do have to play with, because it's a projection tool. So this is not going to tell me that, things are going to come back down and like it's a for sure thing or anything, right? Like if I change the time frame, you know, all of a sudden you get a new pattern. So it's very important that for this one you do mess around with the time frame, but it's a good way to project certain patterns as they have happened in the past. And it sort of gives you a nice little picture here of like how things could look. So pretty cool stuff. So I'm working on that, and then there's one more. I'm not done with that one, so I'm not going to show it. But yeah, whenever I have those done, man, it will be on the website for anybody that wants to use them. TradingView. This is L'Impatrice. It's a French band, dude. That French funk. It's called Voodoo. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you, dude. All right. Let's go ahead and look at the intraday chart one more time, see what we got going on here for tomorrow. While we groove out and funk out. Okay, so for those that are just coming in, I'm gonna show you the projection here real quick, just before I pull up the intraday chart. So this right here is May 24th, okay, right before we started climbing up on that June run up that we had of last year. And right now we're following this pattern almost to a T, man. I was telling the Discord earlier too, like I would not pay too much attention, okay, to what goes on in this pattern, right? Because, you know, as you're reaching newer highs, you know, fractals are going to be bigger. They're going to be bigger naturally. So here, what we want to track is the ratio levels. As long as the ratio levels are accurate, and you can see here, we got the low, high, and then this is your mid, right? And it's gravitating back down. Some patterns are going to track, some are going to be delayed here. And since this pattern is bigger, you can see that if I shift it right over, right, you get your low, you got your high. In between here would be this pattern right here in the middle. See how they all get mixed around in this entire pattern. This is one of the things I explained when we were predicting the March run-up. I had talked about how this setup here was very similar to what happened back here. And this is one of the ways you can use the volume theory on how these guys cover those positions, right? But in this case, what I had talked about was if we apply a similar setup here, you'd see that the shorting, the way they short the stock here looks completely different, but the volume is similar. So these patterns, really what can be going on here is that these guys are trying to replicate something else. In this case, it was a wedge that broke down, and then this would be your accumulation phase on the micro scale. And a lot of these patterns here, you can just cross them right out. Like for example, here you could see that there's one of the patterns here, right? You could see that this is like one of the sequences here that also matches with this setup. And as you cross these off, you're basically replicating the same layout, except just using a different pattern, which, you know, back here it was a pennant and here it's a wedge. So it's a little confusing, but I would go watch the March 28th or 29th scenario that I posted, because it talks everything about how patterns, how market makers use patterns to manipulate the market. But yeah, things don't have to look a certain way or one way for them to be valid. They just have to have a very similar structure and a deadline, and we know that the deadline is these guys using the option chain, right? Because there's expiration dates, so they have to do it by a certain date. They have to hedge it by a certain date. And that's why you get some of these patterns playing out, starting, one time frame here on a date, ending on a certain date. A lot of the times you get it with, like quad witching dates, or when they're rolling over leaps and stuff like that. That is when you start to get a lot of these setups playing out the way they do. So yeah, pretty confusing stuff. But yeah, go watch that video, dude. You'll know what's up. All right, market's about to close. Let's see what we're doing here. The market. We had today we had 16 million in volume, and I'm trying to think of a date here where we had something similar. So back in January of 2021, using a different ratio, because we are dealing with smaller price action, which is a big deal. Like if you're trading, 5 million in volume one day, say, which is very low. Let's say 50 million one day, and the price is at $2. Well, now you have to do a little bit of math, because if you're trading at $10, and you really, for it to be equal, $10 would be, as long as you have 10 million that day traded in volume, it would have been the exact same thing. Unless there's like a split or something. If there's a split, then it's a little bit different. But in this case, well, technically, no. Technically, I'm wrong, because we did have the AMC Ape. When Ape launched, we did lose half of the. Technically, it is a little bit different to look at it that way. But my whole point here is just pull up the volume, dude. You don't even have to do that. Just pull up the volume here and look to see what's going on down here compared to what we got back here, right, in January. Very similar volume. And it's a little bit drier. And then same thing back here in May. You're starting to get low volume. And that beta, dude, that beta is also looking really good to the SPY. Beta is looking amazing. So you want to have inverse beta, negative beta on the SPY, because that means that you're it could go both ways. But if you have positive beta, that means you are doing better. If you have negative beta, that means you're doing worse than the market. And whenever you start to like completely stray away from what the market is doing, you, my friend, are in bullish territory. Typically that indicates volatility is coming, and that is where you get these runs. And we had the exact same thing happen back here on the beta. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let me see which one I used though. Let's see, was it this one? I want to pull up this one. I'm pretty sure it was this one. I'm on the 6-hour chart. I think that'll be okay. Let's go on the daily though. Now, how do I know if this is doing it for the SPY? No, it wasn't this one. Some betas, you can actually pick the benchmark. And in this case, I want to be able to... Let's try this one. Okay, here we go. SPY. Let's go on the 3-hour chart. length. Did I do wrong? I usually do. I don't know if this thing has a cap or something for how much you can put. Probably does. All right, let's do 62 then. All right, so we're like right now, if we're using 62 days here, I believe that's the length, unless it's talking about the points. If it's talking about the points, then this is different, because it's just it'll just be smoothing out the curve if the more I put. All right, so back here you can see that. All right, so I'm sorry, it's negative. You want to track negative, not positive. Negative beta is good, not positive. And I'm sure somebody already corrected me on that because I flipped them over. Yeah, so with the negative beta here, you're going to start to get... So as soon as you cross into that territory, negative territory on the beta here, that starts to become a good thing. Now, as I change the time frame, you're also going to get a different layout here, a different setup on both. So I'm going to pull this up here and see what we can do. Kind of play around with it here. So we're tracking, we want to track really what the similar points or similar levels that we tracked before we ran in June and before we ran in January. Even back here too in November, that counts. So it's really playing around trying to get that too. And it's pretty interesting because this kind of gives you similar, like right here, this layout right here is what the implied volatility looks like right now for AMC. It looks very similar to this. So that's funny. Okay, let's go on the daily and see if I can get something here on the daily. No, that's too much. Interesting. All right, yeah, we're going to have to play with this because I'm pretty sure this beta here has something that I am not... I'm just getting something else from this. All right. I'm going to have to play around with that and figure it out here. This is what I'm expecting, though. I am expecting a push back up going into tomorrow, and you guys already know with the volatility we're expecting in the market, that should be a good thing here for AMC if everything does start to reverse and climb back up. For the SPY, I guess I can pull this up real quick here and talk about it. Let's see, where is it at? All right. Yeah, let's pull it up. My little green screen over here is like showing up. Chart. Okay. So, we're going to pull up this week. We did have, and I pull these up sometimes just to show you guys, but this week we did have just 4 POIs that we're tracking right now on the website. So if you guys want to pull that up, you can just hit the click that link below, man, and head on over. Let's go ahead and pull that up so I can show you guys. Here we go. Whoa, that is huge. What happened to this? Okay, let's go on it anyways. So you click on the members thing here. It will ask you for a password. And why is that wrong? There we go. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. Why is it like that, though? All right, so for the SPY, there was the interactive charts. Here's the POI for the SPY. And I'm expecting, so I did expect it to come down here to the 379 before making a bounce, and that's for the bullish setup. And then the inverse POI is obviously coming back down to that 371 range. That would be like a bearish scenario here. We obviously also have the AMC setup. And so the way I do this now for this is the AMC POI as well. So I'll be showing you guys those. The way I do this for some of the charts is I update them throughout the week. Some of the POIs now are going to be updated throughout the week, and as they come, as they build up, I will be posting those. Last week we had like 8, dude. Insane week. Actually, we had 10. Last week we had 10 fucking POIs. All right, so yeah, you get your dry markets, man. Your dry markets. That's what we're experiencing right now. That's why we had very little volume going on right now. Typically, when you anticipate some kind of a move, volatility, you tend to have a bit of dry pressure in the previous days, and that's exactly what we're experiencing right now. So let's see what goes down tomorrow, man. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited. Things are looking good. We're still tracking. If we stop tracking for whatever reason, I will tell you guys, and I'll go live and we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about the setup, the next POI. It's very important that when these things go down, that, you know, we understand that we're tracking volatility points here, and that's a big win here. Because if you're able to predict some kind of a volatility event that happens on a range here, I mean, you're already winning at their game. I mean, their game is pretty straightforward. It's pretty set. We've seen things go down the way they have. And yeah, dude, that is key here. What I do know for sure is that things are starting to curl back up. Things are more bullish now than they have been before. Yeah, it's been rocky. It's been a roller coaster, but we have finally closed above that quad witching price level that I talked about, and that's a very, very big deal. Also, guys, zoom out, man. Zoom out, because we are still in this projector pattern. Okay, we haven't, like, dude, the monthly chart projector. Okay, it's still there. We're still tracking it. We're right on this range. Why it's going to be important that on this POI we go up? Because if we go down, then it's likely that we would experience another couple of cycles before coming back up into the channel, right? So very important that we play out a positive POI, or else we wait a little bit, and that's also okay. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys. You know, I want this thing to go down too. I'm with you. Okay. Okay. Let's see what else we can talk about here. Hey, if you guys have any questions, make sure you go ahead and ask them right now, dude. I got you. I'm here for questions too. Thoughts on GME. So GME is also primed for a run, and I've told everyone that I also believe that on this next run that we have, we are also going to get a larger move on GME. I think GME is going to have a nice little move. There's some patterns that I'm playing with. Let's go. Yeah, let's look at it. So with GME, and GME has also a very clear cycle. It's the 90-day cycle. You can literally take this pattern here, and that's GME cycle right here. You can see it on every single time frame really here. And it's important to understand that some of the gaps here on the cycles, when they merge, there is a period of time where the market does not do anything. It just it tracks, everything tracks identical, and we did have that happen back here in November. The market tracked very closely together before it started to stray away again. But yeah, this cycle is very clear. You can see what's going on here. You got a point of interest here, get shorted down, and then you have your release. So this one's pretty clear on GameStop. Now, things are stretching. They are getting larger because things are also curling back up. If you pull up the weekly chart on GameStop, it's it's AMC's arc pattern. That's AMC right there. In June, right? And then you got July 15th, August 24th, going up to September 14th, and then all the way back down in October, right? This is GME right here on the weekly chart, but it's truly AMC on that time frame. So you can kind of look at it that way. And you can also see that it's coming to a point. We can pull up the moving average where things are also being respected here. Support levels are being respected, and it loves to bounce. It loves to bounce on this range. Okay, so I'm also looking for a push here on GME. Obviously, I specialize a little bit more on AMC and what AMC is doing, but I'm also tracking GME. One thing to consider, and I guess I'll go back here with AMC's chart here real quick. Let's go on the 4 hour. That one I like to zoom out a little bit. So here's the regression cycle, and this is by the way how I found all the patterns that I'm talking about, because there's two that were missing in here, and just really putting everything together was how I was able to locate those. Now, what you can see here is, and ignore the green pattern here, like arrow. This doesn't mean that we're going to this level or anything. All this is saying is it's locating that 3-month cycle where things are spaced apart here, because this follows a 3-month cycle. So you can see here that we are crossing. Let's do this. We just crossed this level of resistance here, and we bounced. I talked about how important this is, guys. Look, I'm going to show you the last time we did that. Okay, right here. Same exact setup where you cross, right? You cross this level, and then what do? You come back down before climbing back up. Same thing. We've done it once, and we're doing that again right now. Okay? So you can also look at this, even though this is not a regression trend, it's a little different, right? It's a pennant, but it's the same setup. You got a smaller projector, crosses, comes back down, touches support again before gravitating back up. Okay, and here we had 2 projectors before running. Here, a little different. We have a bunch of little projectors, a massive one, and then probably one more before going up again. Very similar setup. So yeah, this is also something that I'm very bullish on. I think if people were really looking at the resistance levels here, I mean, this is one, and that was obviously crossed, but you can also just say, well, looking at the top here, let's see. Oh, really? This was the resistance level to cross here. Okay, crosses, it's a fake out, and then it bounces again. Very important that it comes back to bounce, because this is that opportunity, guys. This is a projector pattern. Even though this one's a little bit smaller, we are expecting one more set here before going back up. I think this is a really good way to look at it, for sure. Okay. How do we compare AMC's 1 hour, 16th February 2022? see. The 16th was right here. This pattern right here. Well, let's see what the cycle is doing, because the cycle will sometimes point these things out. And you can see right now we're about to exit what is this red portion here. We're getting very close to the green portion, which is the start of this macro POI, right? And the macro POI is a larger range, guys. So make sure you guys just know that when you get these volatility events on the cycle, there is a very large range here to track. Versus just tracking one day or something like that, right? But yeah, I can see the similarity between the two. You can also, you know, this pattern here, just by looking at it too, you can probably see AMC's entire sequence using this, like way back here, probably something like that. A little different, but you guys get the point. I mean, it's this sort of a pattern here. I would say something like that, right? Because it does cross right below. As soon as we cross this pennant here. Now, this is interesting, because what you get here is that massive POI. One of the only POIs here that has played out inverse. We haven't seen an inverse POI in a little while. So this is the only inverse POI in the entire, and I'm talking a bullish POI. So inverse POIs we've seen many times, but this is the only like bullish inverse POI that we've seen on the cycle. So that's why this one is very important here, because this would be already in a row, basically. And there's cycles here that are very, very stagnant. And you can see the patterns playing out, but they're just very flat. So you do have to pull them up and stretch them and stuff to be able to see what's going on. But right here, as soon as we get this next cross, if we do get that bullish, like if we get an identical pattern playing out here on this POI, I think that's just going to do it. I really just don't see another cycle being played out here on this next POI if things are bullish. If they're bearish, obviously we're going to get another couple of cycles. But a bullish one is what would basically break this whole thing. I don't see how this thing could just be extended any longer. In that case, I think too much volume would come in, not only on AMC, but also Ape too. Yeah, we're still getting information on Ape. Ape has very little information right now. You know, we've been trading Ape for about a month, and both combined, let's pull them up here. I do have an indicator. I still haven't posted it because apparently TradingView said they were going to fix the charts. I contacted them and everything, and they said they were about to make that they were trying to see if they were going to make or something an AMC Plus A that shows the historical levels of AMC. What this does, that's what this indicator does, basically. It lets you look at AMC prior to the scale that took place, the scaling that took place. And it shows you the original values. You can see that this high right here is a 77. And then this is showing the chart here as if AMC plus Ape were merged together and trading together. So it really is AMC's true price, true chart. But the reason why I have just a bit of a problem looking at this chart specifically is because we don't have enough information on Ape, and we don't know what Ape's going to do. So if Ape starts coming down and just, you know, strays away from AMC, and AMC starts to rally or something, then you'd kind of know why I would be looking at AMC's chart rather than looking at both, because and at that point, we're going to see something completely different here. We're going to see something like that, just values that we don't want to see here. So So yeah, I'm gonna wait a little bit to see and get more information on what Ape is doing here on this POI, this next POI, and then go from there. All right. So, all right, man. Yeah, I was gonna make this video just pretty straightforward, not like a live, long live stream or anything. With since the market is closed here, but guys, I'm pretty optimistic, man. I'm pretty optimistic here with what AMC's gonna do. Not financial advice, but I will be letting everybody know what my whole thought process is going into the next couple of days, because I think they're very important. I think just in general they're very important. So keep an update on that. If you guys want more info and stuff, I do have a Discord. You can click the link below and join that. Pretty cool stuff. I also have pretty nice other Discord, right, where we chill out and we just talk and we go live and we look at options. If you guys know what options are, option trading, stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, yeah, just look at the memberships and join up, man, for sure. Other than that, I will see you guys probably tomorrow, and you guys have a great rest of your day, man. Fucking love you guys. Bye-bye.